Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling, your ultimate destination for all things AEW and WWE. Whether you're a hardcore wrestling fanatic or just a casual viewer, we've got you covered with the latest news, in-depth show reviews, and our unfiltered opinions on everything happening in the world of professional wrestling. Join us as we dive into the high-octane action, dramatic storylines, and backstage buzz of AEW and WWE. Get ready to step into the ring with us and stay on top of the wrestling world. This is Top Tier Wrestling. Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling. I'm your host, Josh, aka the Sultan of Suplexes, joined by the co-hostess with the mostest, the she-devil of super kicks, Dawn. Tonight, we're diving into AEW Collision from November 16th. Let's get into it.
Yeah, man.
And this episode of Collision was pretty good.
Yeah.
I have to say, we start out with a returning Mina Shirakawa versus Harley Cameron. And I'm not sure what I was expecting out of this match, but it wasn't bad. Like I thought Mina was surely going to be fatigued and possibly dehydrated because Mina's been coming for like 2 weeks.
God, my soul is dead. Goodbye, everyone. I die now.
Burr.
And that's the opening joke, folks.
That is the opening joke. And I mean, Harley Cameron is a competent enough wrestler, but she's more of a character wrestler.
Yeah.
And this match kind of did what I thought it would do. Like the first part of it was them shaking their titties at each other with a lot of gyrations. But it ended up being a relatively decent showing for both of them. There was some decent moves that Harley Cameron tried doing. Like there was a nice teardrop suplex at one point that she went for, and she tried a diving sling blade from the middle rope. Kudos for trying for it. I'm not sure if she got all of it. Mina Shirakawa showed off some stuff though. Decent disaster kick off the middle rope to Cameron. Kind of makes me think of Cody Rhodes a bit there. And she ultimately hits Cameron with a spinning back fist to set up the glamorous driver and drills Cameron into the ground to kind of get a relatively short but sweet quick win. So a good showing for Mina on her return.
Yeah.
And not a bad showing for Harley Cameron, who is hilarious in her promos. So improvements on her work rate are always nice to see.
Yeah. And you know what? I never thought I was going to say this. I never thought I would say this. But she's actually growing on me. The goofy...
Like a fungus.
Yeah, the goofy, funny, whatever this is. You know, I don't know what it is. But it's grown on me. It's working for her, so... And it's a lot more noticeable, and you can appreciate it a lot more when she's not with Saraya. And I don't know what that means, honestly. I don't know why, but for some reason she's much more enjoyable without Saraya. Maybe it's because she gets to shine on her own. I'm not sure, but take that for what you will.
I think so. I think it's a combination of factors. Like Harley Cameron on her own, we just get to see Harley like basically going insane in process.
Yeah.
And she can actually be really pretty funny. Like I found myself like despite myself chuckling at her promos. Like they're pretty good.
Yeah.
So I do think it was like a knock against her that she was associated with Saraya, because Saraya has basically gone nowhere. So like in promos where Saraya is doing a lot of the talking, it's like, shut up, let the funny one speak, you know?
Yeah,
And Saraya has just failed to be an interesting performer since coming to AEW for whatever reason.
true.
Um, and I hope she can change that, but it's definitely been a good move for Harley Cameron to strike out on her own. And I think she's going to get over with the fans, kind of in the same way in the WWE that Chelsea Green has gotten over by being this over the top, kind of really amusing character, even though she's supposed to be super annoying. Um, and it doesn't hurt that, when she's given the opportunity to do so, she can actually go in the ring. So
Yeah,
I just make that comparison because that's how I feel Harley Cameron is kind of over here on AEW. She's sort of their Chelsea Green.
yeah. No, that's a fair comparison. Um, I think maybe You know what? I don't know. I can't say that because I've not seen Harley outside of AEW. I just know I've seen Chelsea before, right before WWE, and she's a little spitfire, man. She can really go, and I think she's had to kind of water down her moveset being in the position that she's in WWE. I don't know if she chose that or if that's just the nature of the beast there, but whatever the case, she's kind of watered it down, and I wonder if oh my god, my brain. I wonder if Harley, there it is. I wonder if she's done the same thing. But maybe I should look into more for matches, like
Well, I
prior
mean,
to prior to AEW.
obviously there's the booking, right? That they have no
Yeah,
control over.
right,
But
right.
I would strongly suggest that Harley Cameron most likely has a lot more creative control over who she's trying to depict
That
than, say, Chelsea
yeah,
Green in WWE.
yeah.
WWE's probably told her who she's going to be, and
Ye-
that's what she gets to be.
You're probably right. Yeah. So yeah, that might be the way of it. Um, and you're right. There might be a lot more freedom. A lot more freedom of control
Exactly.
when it comes to your character with AEW, because that's what we've seen time and time again. So yes,
Yeah, that's certainly what I keep hearing. And I mean, we're definitely seeing for example, a different Ricochet over here in AEW. One who's
Fraser.
doing more like with their work rate and with their character.
Yeah,
Um, so that's of course it's an assumption on my part, but it's based on everything I'm hearing and seeing. But both kayfabe and not. Um, I think WWE still has their fingers more on what the wrestlers are allowed to do and say and be than I feel is the case in AEW.
yeah,
Where I think they probably pitch an idea and then Tony's like, okay, make it work, you know?
yeah,
But that match was a fun start to Collision, and following that, we go pretty much right into match 2, which is Danny Garcia versus Johnny TV with the MXM collection in tow. And I was surprisingly more amused by this particular match than I thought I was going to be, because I'm not like, I love MXM collection. That's the draw for me out of those list of names, because I've not seen Johnny TV do too much that makes me care. And Danny
yeah.
Garcia, I know they're trying to get him over, but he's still, to me, very, very, very plain Jane.
I actually like
Although
him.
some of his in-ring work has gotten better, or
Yeah,
more exciting, I should say. Like he's always been good at doing the moves he chooses to do, but he's choosing to do moves that I find more interesting to watch these days, I should say.
yeah,
And of course, since Danny Garcia is in a match, Matt Menard is joining the commentary table,
yeah. And
aka Daddy Magic.
I would be. You know what? I'm so much more okay with calling him Matt Menard. So much more
Right?
okay. I don't want to call him daddy, and I don't want to finish that with magic. Okay. It's just a little something that happens in the back of my throat that I can't control and I don't like it. So I'm okay with Matt Menard.
Yeah. But on top of the things that happen in ring, there's a lot that's going on outside the ring in this particular match. A lot of moving parts and pieces. Um,
Yeah,
so
from out of
to hit, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say from out of nowhere, Jack Perry.
Out of
That's all I
nowhere.
wanted to say.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the first things that was pretty good is that MXM Collection being out there kind of paid off for Johnny TV early on.
Yep.
Mansoor kind
Yep.
of distracted the ref, and Garcia ends up getting choke slammed behind the referee's back by Mace.
What? What? No,
And
I don't. I don't remember that. I remember him just being there and being beautiful. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you
yeah, with a
sure? You sure it
beautiful
was
choke
him?
slam.
You
Yeah,
sure it was him?
I'm certain he
Hmm.
choke slammed the life out of Garcia. He grabbed him from off, like he's standing. Mace is standing on the apron, and Garcia gets a little too close, and he gets
Mm,
choke slammed over the top rope.
guys,
Um,
I don't know. Fake news. I don't know, guys.
but that was pretty good. And then what made it funnier after that is, like you're saying, Mace then lays on the apron and acts like, "What? I've just been here being beautiful the whole time."
Because that's what he
Uh,
was doing, bro. Man,
oh,
I'm telling you.
my mistake. I could be
Yeah.
completely recollecting the wrong thing
It
here.
was probably another guy. I don't know if it was Mace, man. I don't appreciate that.
Yeah. And there, to highlight another really good move, Johnny TV actually hits a massive tornillo over the top rope that
Oh
I thought
yeah,
looked
yeah.
really impressive against
Mm-hmm.
Garcia. And it was shortly after that that Jack Perry shows up coming through the crowd and like just rolls up and slams Matt Menard, who's at the announcer's desk. He just slams him face first into the commentary table, and
Hey
then
guys,
pretty
you
much
won't
gathers
believe
him
it.
up and kidnaps him.
Yeah, you won't believe it. Jack Perry hit a guy from behind to get the advantage. Um, surprise. Yeah,
Yeah,
it does. It never. It, you know, I get it. It never really works out for him if he tries to do it. And like if they see him coming, it's kind of like swatting a
no,
fly.
yeah,
So he has to come from behind. Giggity. Apparently it's that kind of podcast today, people. Send your kids to bed early. Let them go watch television because apparently we got them jokes today.
we got them jokes today.
You know, them jokes.
Them
But no,
ones.
them ones, yeah. But he comes up from behind, and yeah, like Josh said, he kidnapped a full sized man, um, and they disappeared to the back. Now Garcia didn't see this. Garcia was too busy whooping that ass or getting that ass whooped. But at the time, I think he was whooping ass.
Yeah,
So he was way more focused on that as he should have been. And I remember going, bruh, if you were doing that to like get into the middle of his fight or his match, then you're too late. Like are he didn't see it, so he's not gonna come after you. He didn't see you kidnap his friend. But whatever. He, continues to whoop ass, he being Daniel Garcia. And
indeed. And
and go
there's
ahead.
a couple of high spots that occur here. Garcia drills Johnny TV with a massive Saito suplex, and
Mm.
he also hits him with a running boot in the corner and that nice swinging neck breaker that he's been doing. Um, he attempts to try and get Johnny TV into a pile driver, but Johnny dumps him over the top rope, and then MXM just pretty much beat on him while the referee's back is turned. And then when they throw him back in the ring, Johnny TV also hits a disaster kick. So apparently the theme for the night, uh, or if you asked Mark Briscoe, the word of the day is disaster kick, because we've now seen one by Mina Shirakawa and by Johnny TV in the first two matches of the night.
Yeah.
And then Johnny TV hits him with a swinging neck breaker, And then he tries to go for Starship Pain, but that move has a success rate of like 0.01.
I don't
Because
think I've ever seen him get that move off. Actually,
I
like I've
think
seen him
I've
do
only,
it.
yeah, lots of times, but him actually
Yeah,
landing it on someone, I think I've seen it once, like
I have.
ever.
Yeah, I don't remember ever seeing it connect with anyone.
Yeah.
Every time he's done it, that person that he's doing it to rolls out of the way right before he connects.
Yep.
So, I mean, it looks really
And
cool. It looks fucking badass. You know,
yeah,
I
but
wish it
it
would
never
hit
hits
somebody, but
anyone. Yeah. The mat has taken that move more than any other opponent.
yeah.
But that allows Garcia to hit a shotgun drop kick into the corner that would have made Finn Balor, proud.
Oh, it was
And
beautiful. Yeah, it was beautiful.
yep.
And
And then
Johnny flew to the star. Like he flew
he
across.
did
Like seriously, he sold that bad boy. He was like, hit me so that I can fly
to
all
the
the way
moon.
to the moon and come back. Like he yeeted himself. So he great sell, great move. It just the whole thing looked really good there.
Yeah. And then Garcia grabs up Johnny in a seated Cobra clutch to get the submission victory.
Yeah. But then,
But then,
but then what had happened was Garcia was like, yeah, I won. Right. And he's and he looks around and he sees that Menard ain't there. Like and so like he's like leaning against the ropes and basically like talking to commentary and Shivani basically tells him that Jack Perry came and took your man, right? And so, he's like
yep,
he turns around, he sees on the Titantron that Jack Perry has his dude and he's, basically whipping his ass. So then we go backstage now, which looked real good. I like the whole thing, the whole vibe here. Because it could be hit or miss with with their broadcasting for AEW. We could have gone backstage and it would have just been like a random ice cream commercial. We would have never known what the hell happened to
or go
Menard.
backstage and there's no lights.
And
It's
no
just dark.
lights, or it just freezes for 10 seconds and then it goes to the AEW logo with some music. And so thankfully none of that happened. But we go backstage and Jack is talking. He says two things that don't go together and just made no sense. Um, you think he's ready, and then you're holding him back. Uh,
Yep. And this
what?
is at this point, I think Perry has beaten Menard all the way out into the parking lot and is
Yeah,
attempting to wrap a chain around Menard's neck in order to drag him behind his little scapegoat bus.
yeah, yeah. But then,
But then,
from out of nowhere, Garcia is like, "Found you, found you." I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding, guys. He said
yeah,
that a lot.
he
You.
said it just like that. Found you. And it's like my man has to narrate his every move.
And but then he starts whipping. He starts whipping Jack Perry's ass. And listen, I only made fun of how he said it because it sounded like, I don't know if you guys have ever been in an altercation. Hopefully you haven't. But if you have, you could relate to his repetitiveness with the stuff he was saying. Because wherever you're in a situation like that, you're just talking shit and you're heated, right? So that's pretty
Yeah.
much what he was doing.
Hmm.
I'm not. So I have heard. Okay, so I have heard. Anyway,
And
anyway,
I think he hits him a couple times, throws him into his own bus,
yeah.
and then proceeds to start kicking him while he's on the ground.
But then
And
he goes and he takes the chain off Menard and I thought at first Menard was gonna be like, no, leave him alone, leave him alone. And I'm like, you better fucking not. And he was about to drag you. You
yeah,
know what I
because
mean?
after he untethers Menard, they both head back over to deal with Perry, and it looks like Garcia's like wailing on him, and Menard does look like he's like stopping him, but it's not for the reasons that you would think, right?
Yeah,
And you were
yeah, yeah,
saying,
yeah. Yeah, then Menard's like, I got a idea. And they get the chain. Basically, they essentially put it on Jack, and of course, you let me go, the whole time. You know how it is. And I think they cut to something else, but when we came back,
yeah, I
they
think
had
commercial break.
Yeah, they had Menard. I'm not Menard, but they had uh 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 Jack Perry on the hood of the scapegoat bus,
Yeah,
chained to
tied
it.
to it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and they're driving like they're about to hit some crazy speeds. Who was driving? Was it Daniel?
I think Danny was driving.
Yeah, so I think Danny's driving, Menard's in the passenger seat. Basically, we get this really cool, almost Doom type view of them driving. Or we're in the scapegoat with them, of course, and they're just basically barreling this bad boy down the parking lot to God
Yeah.
knows where, and he's strapped to the hood. Jack Perry is strapped to the hood, and legend has it to this day, he's still just strapped to the hood, going to the nether
Yeah.
regions on the scapegoat.
Yeah.
So it
Danny
did
are
not go.
Danny and Matt are gonna be driving to the next venue with him on the
Yeah.
front,
Oh my
running
god, that
into
would be
trees and shit.
hilarious if they did that. That would be hilarious. So yeah, he'd be covered in dead bugs and just unfortunate.
He'd be
Yeah, no.
sunburnt.
Oh god, that'd be a horrible time. Um, but yeah, no, that did not end the way that I thought it was. But I like the way it went, and it was really fun.
It was. I anytime Jack Perry is getting it handed to him, I'm there for it.
Anytime you strap Jack Perry to the hood of the scapegoat and barrel down the parking lot, I am here for it. Sounds like a
I,
good goddamn
I'm just
time.
waiting to see what you run into while he's strapped to the hood, you know?
Seriously, I'm telling you, if we don't hear anything from him until October 23rd. I mean, I'm sorry, until November 23rd for their pay-per-view. If we if he's still strapped to that fucking hood and they just drive they just drive into
They
the
they
arena with him,
they show you that they've been driving at full gear, all the way to full gear.
I, I'm gonna be done. I'm gonna be done. That'd be great.
I'm waiting for them to show us like them driving it off like a pier into the water with Jack strapped
Oh
to the front.
God, I don't think they're gonna show you a complete murder.
Oh, only partial, only
Just
assumed
partial.
murder.
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
it.
So just a hint. You'll be like, "Hey, did he die?" But then you see him later on. You're like, "Oh, you know."
And for some reason, the crowd will still chant, "Don't kill Darby."
That's forever gonna be the chant. Please don't kill him. Well, I don't
But
know.
that was pretty fun. That
Yeah.
particular segment, I enjoyed it. They're 2 for 2 using automobiles in their skits lately. I liked the one with Chris Statlander and Mercedes and Camille too. That was fun. Um, but that brings us to the gold standard of matches. Shelton Benjamin with MVP, of course, versus Commander with Alex Abrahantes.
What a cool last name.
Abrahantes.
And that's all I have to say about this match. No, I'm kidding. Um,
That was the high spot, Abrahantes.
Abrahantes. No, guys, this was a good one. Honestly, this was a good one.
It was. I thought Shelton Benjamin was just going to obliterate Commander. And don't get me wrong, he does, but Commander gets to get off, some of his offense as well.
Yeah.
I mean, early on, we see Benjamin get him with that, like, I want to say it's like a crotch lock or something, where he basically grabs him underneath his legs and just yeets him to the moon. And that was fun. And let's see, another big high spot. Let's see, Commander hit him with a pretty decent shotgun drop kick off the top rope. There was also Commander walking the ropes from the far side of the ring to connect with a twisting cartwheel plancha to the floor, and he hits it perfectly. And Benjamin, to his credit, kept it very safe for him. But I mean, it looked amazing.
Yeah.
And I think there was a spot where Commander hits Benjamin with a Tiger Fang kick, aka the 619, and that positions him perfectly for Commander to do his top rope walk shooting star press, which is also an impressive move, by the way. Shooting star
Yeah.
presses are not easy moves to do, and that Commander does one running across the top rope like he does. I mean, that's impressive.
Pretty
Uh,
gangster.
but Benjamin wasn't standing for it, or rather, he wasn't laying for it. Rolls out of the way and grabs Commander and yeets him with a twofer of like massive release German suplexes. Like he's like yeet, and
Yeah.
Commander's like, I believe I can fly until he hits the mat. I was wrong.
I believe I can. Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
and
much.
after two of those, Commander kind of works his way into the corner, and Benjamin hits him with a massive running knee, which sets up this like I don't know if it's a super kick or a thrust kick that Benjamin's doing, and maybe it's a distinction without a difference, but whichever one it is, he looks like he's kicking the literal head off of his opponent when he does it.
Yeah.
And it
Yes.
seems
Yes,
to
he
be his
does.
setup into his finish, which is like an exploder power slam, which he then hits on Commander with extreme prejudice, and then it's over at that point. Shelton
Yeah.
Benjamin gets the win, 1, 2, 3,
All I can
and
say, all I can say about Sheldon Benjamin and the Hurt Syndicate in general is, uh, I I hope that Bobby Lashley can live up to this because Benjamin is out here showing up and showing out.
yeah,
Like,
outside of that first match, which I felt ran too long, I think we commented about that for them trying to depict him as this monster that can crush people. His
yeah,
first match ran too long, and it did have that one kind of a botch where he tried to do his running knee up on the apron and then fell backwards
yeah.
ungracefully onto the floor. Every other showing since then with Shelton has been really good.
My man is doing. He is putting in the work. So much so that I'm starting to get concerned about Bobby Lashley. I'm like, bro, your first showing is gonna be against Swerve.
Swerve.
Man, you that them some big shoes, and not only that, but Shelton is out here making even bigger pairs of shoes for you to fucking try to get your feet into, man. This dude is the real deal at 49 years old, I think. Um, he ain't
Yep.
joking. He ain't playing around. Like
No.
no fucks is given. He's coming here to do work, and like they have done a great job of making my man look like a problem. I am
Yeah.
more concerned about him getting in the ring with Swerve now. Like I'm like, if he gets in the ring with Swerve again, I don't even know, because he's just looking better and better.
He is. He is indeed. But I mean, Swerve's on that next level shit.
Oh
So
God, yes, yeah, no. Shelton has to look better and better because going up against dudes like Swerve ain't no joke either. And Commander, he did his part. He did his part in this match. I'm not saying that
yeah. Yep.
he was chopped liver. He was not. I like you said, I honestly thought that he was gonna come in there and just yeet that dude around because that's kind of what he did to Leo Rush.
Leo Rush. Yeah.
He kind of just yeeted like Leo around, and I mean there are memes of Leo being ragdolled in that match. Um, Commander was not having that.
No. No.
Commander said no. So
I
yeah,
mean,
it was a good match.
yeah. Commander, I don't think looked buried here. Obviously,
No,
he
no, no.
lost the match, but it wasn't for lack of putting up a fight. Um, and then after the match, Benjamin tries to unmask Commander, which forces Alex Abrahantes to get into the ring, which is just never going to go well for Alex Abrahantes.
Yeah.
But not in the way I thought. Like, I thought, well, this is where Benjamin's going to yeet him completely out of the stadium. It wasn't Benjamin who decided to get physical here. Instead, MVP grabs a hold of Alex Abrahantes and clotheslines the life out of him.
Yeah.
And so MVP has made a showing here of like, yo, I know I'm out here in a managerial capacity, but it's not like I'm afraid to get physically involved. And so that's one more element of risk that anyone facing the
Yeah.
Hurt Syndicate must now contend with. Is that not only do you have the monster that they're portraying Shelton Benjamin as, you're going to be dealing with the almighty Bobby Lashley and MVP, and
Yeah.
not, in a very physical capacity.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they reminded the fans, AEW fans, all fans, period. They reminded them that MVP is a wrestler. Like he did not, from what I understand, he did not stop wrestling because he is injured himself or anything like that. I think he might be a little bit older than Shelton Benjamin, but as we can see, none of age isn't affecting none of these men, man. Like they're
Yeah.
just fine. And I don't even think that the cane that MVP uses is the cane that he really technically needs.
No. I
Um,
watched him jump down off the apron getting out of that ring, and he was spry as a
yeah,
grasshopper.
exactly. So I don't, don't get it twisted. I think all three of these men are being set up to be a threat in AEW,
Yep.
and I am
Yep.
here for it. This is what I wanted to see in WWE, and for some reason they just couldn't let it happen. Um, they, I guess, assumed that no one would be into it, which is, I find, laughable. They also had this really, really strong desire to keep Bobby Lashley as a face, and I felt that that was holding Bobby Lashley back years ago when I was watching him. I think I even made a comment to you about it when we were talking about Bobby Lashley once after a match. I'm like, man, I bet he would make a great heel. But they just wouldn't. Even when they tried to give him the quote unquote heel angle in WWE, they still kept him with his song, with his music. They still made him do the little pointy fingers and the So the fans, even though he was supposed to be heel, were still cheering like yeah, yeah. They didn't get the heel angle. I don't think anybody really did in WWE because they just wouldn't let that dude out of certain restraints. So now that he's out of
Yep.
them, I'm ready to see what's happening. I'm ready to see what we're gonna do.
Well, I think you're spot on, and I think you've commented, or we've discussed, how once wrestlers get to a certain age, WWE pigeonholes them. I mean, that's
Yeah,
almost exclusively the reason that we see Edge having made a return over here in AEW, is that he
yeah,
he flatly declared that after working so hard to be able to get back in the ring, he wanted to wrestle a little more frequently than the special occasion that WWE had in mind for him. He wasn't yet ready to be put on a Legends contract. Um, and I think it's the same here. I mean, seeing as how Bobby Lashley, I think, is 48, Shelton's 49, and I think MVP's 51. They're all in that age bracket where WWE doesn't see them as somebody that needs to be moving to the top, but rather all talents that need to be pushing somebody else up there.
yeah,
And so I think you're going to continue to see that because that ageism doesn't seem to be a thing in AEW.
yeah.
Um,
They
they're
kind
they're
of feel like
willing
if
to,
you can go, then get in the ring.
yeah. And looking at these men, I mean, as I said, MVP still looks like he's pretty spry.
Yeah,
And both Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley, I mean, they've been out there with their shirts off. You can see that these men are just still made entirely of muscle mass. They can go. There's no
yeah.
reason to just arbitrarily go, well, you're only a couple of years from 50, time to put you out to pasture.
No,
And
I,
so
I I would I would start every last one of them, every last one, all three of those men. I would start if I were just to look at them. I would start their age at 40 and go up one number at a time from there. You could not convince me that either one of them would be anywhere near 50. They look ready to go. They can
yeah.
still go. Shelton is out there acting a damn fool in the ring. So what's the problem? What's the problem?
Yeah. So it's completely understandable that guys that are going to continue to keep their physical ability at this level and stay in this kind of shape are not going to want to be not used. I mean, then what are they working so hard for?
What is the point?
Yeah.
So that they can go sign pictures and shit at
Yeah.
live events.
or be asked to put over the new young talent in the promotion so that the
Yeah,
longevity of the company is all that matters, and screw what's left of your career. So I absolutely understand anybody in that age range kind of looking over and going, I mean, from here's the examples I've got. I mean, as far as I can tell, that would make the most sense as to the motivations of MVP and Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin.
yeah,
Um, it's clearly stated as the reason Edge moved over there, because he wanted to actually wrestle, not be used as some sort of like uh, only a part timer for special occasions. He was like, I
yeah,
didn't work that hard to just do that. And Ricochet has flatly stated that he was pigeonholed over in WWE,
yeah.
into constantly pushing other people's, promotion instead of his own. So these guys that are still hungry for, making their personal brand, stand out and having these runs where they get to be about their career, I totally get it. Or to even have a career, because again, at a certain age range, WWE's like, well, time to put you out to pasture.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think there's a high likelihood of seeing like individuals like Dustin Rhodes come back over as Gold Dust, because like Dustin still likes getting in the ring and wrestling, and he, last time I checked, is actually carrying a title belt. Something that just would not happen over in WWE. They just wouldn't see that that's a viable option for guys at that
Absolutely not.
age.
That'd be a gimmick for them. That'd be funny. That'd be like a one time, like a one off that they'd do for somebody.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
guys like Butcher would never show up in WWE. Like they just
Yeah.
wouldn't have a reason to use
Which is
him.
a shame. Which is a shame. Because I don't know. I think it lends a lot of personality to the promotion itself. Uh and it also it makes it feel a little bit more realistic to me. Um because for those that are like around, or people that see like UFC fights or MMA, there are a lot of dudes that may not look like your average like beefcake, or like
Yep.
like musclehead getting in the ring doing the damn thing. And there are also older people getting in the ring and doing it. Um so it just makes it feel a little bit more realistic. Uh or believable, sometimes the older wrestlers look a little bit more brutal in the stuff they do.
Yeah.
In AEW anyway, in AEW. Um,
Well, and it's
so
getting to a point in this modern era where there's enough science between like nutrition and training, and even those that are juicing, the use of testosterone, that can keep people pretty much in play for as long as they're able to stay in shape. Like
yeah,
age no longer is just like, here's the line, time to stop.
yeah,
We literally just saw Mike Tyson hop into it at like 58, 59, I think he is, into the ring with a guy half his age and go the distance all the way to the end. And
yeah,
we saw what kind of shape he started in and what kind of shape he ended in. And so for him at that age to get back to fighting fit in the time frame that he did so, I mean, I really don't think you can just pick an arbitrary number anymore. You have to take a look at the talent and what kind of shape they're in to see if they can go.
yeah,
And clearly, to bring this all back to the Hurt Syndicate, every member of the Hurt Syndicate is in good enough physical condition to definitely go.
yeah. And I'm happy to see it. So I am very happy that promotions like AEW exist, because if they didn't, I don't know where I would see the Hurt Syndicate. So this is good, and I'm
Yeah.
very
Yep.
happy.
Yep.
But
And MVP and Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley, I mean, I know they're just getting started, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. I think they have a real opportunity to shake up what's happening in AEW, and I'm here for it. And this is
yeah,
something we wouldn't be able to see otherwise. So thank you AEW for offering wrestlers that still want to wrestle and still have something to offer the opportunity to do so without considering that they're a little bit older and not wanting to bank on them.
yeah,
But after that, we are brought backstage where Rennie Packets is interviewing Chris Statlander, and Statlander says that Mercedes and Camille haven't seen anything yet, and that's when Hikaru Shida shows up and says if Statlander beats Mercedes, she wants to be the first shot at the championship. And Statlander says she doesn't want to wait, and she respects Hikaru Shida and would like to set up a match for Dynamite, and Shida accepts. So there we have it.
I'm not sure if that means that she'll get a shot at the championship, though, because that's what she wanted, and Statlander didn't have the championship yet. So I guess they're just gonna have a regular old match, and fuck your needs, Sheeta. You don't get that. You just get a match. That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah, I don't know. Like consolation prize, maybe. I'm not sure.
No, I mean, because she doesn't have the belt yet, right? So, but Hikaru says that she wants she wants the first shot at the championship, and Statlander's like, yo, I don't want to wait for that. I respect you, so I'm not gonna give you the option for the championship, but I will whip your ass before I get the championship.
Yeah.
And Sheeta was like, so good. And
right.
There you go. I don't know.
Now, typically I'd be like meh about that kind of match because the last couple of times I've seen Hikaru Shida wrestle, it has not impressed me. And not for nothing, Shida's not looking like the healthiest I've seen her. Like for some reason, it looks like her face might be a little swollen. I don't know what's going on there. But I would like to see Hikaru Shida in a match with a decent opponent, and that would definitely be Chris Statlander. So I'm hopeful that they can elevate one another and put on a banger.
I am also hopeful that they can do this. Every time I see Hikaru in the ring with somebody, it's somebody who I would consider not as good as her. As of late, anyway. So I don't know if it's Hikaru that's just kind of like meh, or if it's her opponent that she's like trying to meet the level of. I'm not sure. But I don't think she'll have any excuse when it comes to Statlander. So she's either going to sink or swim here, and that'll definitely give me the answer that I need, when it comes to whether or not I'm still a Hikaru Shida fan or not.
Right, that's fair. And we've definitely seen that, right? Like we've only seen 2 matches with Penelope Ford since she's been back, and our first one was against Jamie Hayter, and that match they both elevated one another because Hayter's good.
Yep.
And Penelope apparently can be better if she's in there with a good opponent. But then we saw Penelope Ford after that go with Britt Baker, and that thing was a shit show.
Because she didn't win in that match with Hayter, I guess. Now she's just getting shit canned in all other matches, which was just, don't even get me started. That match was ridiculous, and it was just all in fan service to Britt Baker for some fucking reason. She needs to win a match against somebody, and I'm not sure why. But it's like, hey, pick somebody that I'm better than, and if they did that, she wouldn't be in the ring with anybody. So there you go.
But clearly you can see how the quality of an opponent they're given makes them look better or worse. And so
your opponent matters.
Penelope versus Hayter, both of them looked great. Penelope versus Baker, the whole thing looked like ass.
Yeah.
So
nightmare fuel.
There you go. So that's my hopes for Shida with Statlander is that they will elevate. That said, we are brought to match number 4, which is the first singles match of the returning powerhouse Hobbs. And I'm happy to see Hobbs back. He was on the shelf for a long time with a bad knee injury. And that dude is stacked and jacked, like both.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure. I was like, who are they going to put him against? And then it turns out it's like Beefcake Bronson with Jack Jameson of like the Iron Savages. And I'm like, oh, okay. So this is going to be a squash match. Yeah. And they try to take Powerhouse Hobbs to Titty City, but Powerhouse is like, nah, I'm good. And essentially in short order, Hobbs kind of starts like, I want to say that Bronson gets like one or two moves off, and then Hobbs is like, okay, that's enough. And then he suplexes the life out of the dude, avalanches him in the corner, and hits him with some clotheslines. And then I think Beefcake Boulder or whatever, tries to get into the ring, and Powerhouse like spine busters him directly to hell.
Yeah.
And then lifts up his actual opponent, the other Beefcake, Bronson, up on his shoulders to hit him with a torture rack. And the torture rack looked nice. Lex Luger would have been proud. And gets a submission victory just that quick. This wasn't a very long match, but it wasn't supposed to be. This was just Powerhouse Hobbs like destroying a whole lot of the Iron Savages, and it was good.
Yep, I was okay with it. Anytime the Iron Savages get their asses whooped, I'm okay with it. Although I do not appreciate having to hear them talk at all, or
Ever.
hear anything about Titty City, or hear any about motorboating. But it's a lot better
Or
than when they
sipping
first came
sauce.
out. Yeah, it's a lot better than when they first started and they had the eating ass gimmick. So this
Yeah, no one
this is
should
much
ever.
better.
If I had one piece of advice for the entire pro wrestling industry writ large, is that nobody's gimmick should be eating ass ever,
No
not
one,
ever, for any reason.
no one. It does not matter who you are. No one, no one. I don't care if your character,
None, buddy.
I don't care if your character shtick is that you are a cannibal. I don't care. You should never mention that you want to eat someone's ass. Okay, so
Nope. Not even if
never.
you are given the gimmick of like the proctologist. You should never. This should not be your thing
That's
ever.
even
Not ever,
doubly
never.
so, actually, if you're given some weird proctologist to gimmick. Then that's definitely, like, you want to stay as far away from eating the ass as possible. Just don't put those words in your mouth. Take them out of your fucking brain head right now.
Yeah.
Flush
No.
them. Be done
Never
with
ever.
them. Never.
So thank goodness that they have moved on to Titty City. They're coming up. Eventually, they might get to like the forehead or something. I don't know.
Jesus.
But moving on from that rapidly, we are brought to Lexi Nair, who is interviewing the Undisputed Kingdom, including Roderick Strong. And Roddy is talking some mad smack to MJF.
Mad smack.
And he is sure to let MJF know that when it all is said and done, MJF will see that Roddy is better than him, and he knows it.
Mic drop.
Man.
Yeah, he
Stole
cut
the
a mean
catchphrase.
promo. Yeah, he cut a mean little promo there on MJF. Do I think he's gonna win? No, but he cut a mean little promo, so I liked it.
Yeah,
and I don't. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I think Roddy could actually have a really good match with MJF.
I think so too. Yeah, and I think maybe that's why they're having this match with MJF first. Because I mean they've been trying to sell that Adam Cole is going to be the big problem for MJF. And the one that MJF really doesn't want to face is Adam. So,
Yeah, but this works out.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because Roddy will soften up MJF.
Yeah, but I fully expect a really good match, and I know that MJF is going to cheat at some point somehow. But still going to be a good match, I'm sure.
What? No, MJF can't even cheat in this upcoming match because, like, he sent his Dynamite Diamond ring to Don Callis, and you know Don ain't giving that back. So
he's gonna give
he's
it
not
back.
gonna have it.
They both, like, there's so many men that have kissed that ring. I don't even want to talk about
it. Especially considering where it's been.
Ugh.
Yeah. I know it seems bad now, but trust me, you'll thank me later. I don't know. I thought if Roddy can steal MJF's catchphrase, I can too. What? Anyway.
It's true.
Oh my god, is that Private Party?
It is, actually.
It is
Private
actually.
Party. Because they're coming out to watch the tag team match ahead. Which is Match number 5. LFI with Jake Roberts. Jack Roberts? With Jake Roberts versus the Acclaimed.
Jack the
And
Snack.
yeah, Jack the Snack. And I think
Wait,
that
wait, wait.
wasn't
You can't get away with just saying LFI. You've got to use the whole thing. You got to call them Le Fashion Gobernoblies.
La Fascion and Gobernable.
There you go. Excellent. And I'm sorry, you were
In
saying
Gobernable. In Gobbledygook.
Gobnoble.
La Faction and Gobbledygook. Gobbledygook. Okay, so
La Faction Impronounceable.
there it is. Uh, so I thought that wasn't Daddy Ass or whatever his name. What's his name? Come on, wasn't he with the Acclaimed?
Billy Gunn?
Billy Gunn.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
was
Okay.
out
Well, they
there.
did. Right. Well, I mean, I'm just saying that the title card didn't have him listed as being a part, but they have Jack Roberts, Jack the Snack Roberts. They have
Jack
him.
the Snack. He attacks his opponents with like cakes and snacks, and then they end up type 2 diabetic, and that's how he
Yeah,
gets the win.
he fucking hits him in the face with a Lunchable. Just like in shorts out their salt intake.
Yeah, the dehydration, they can't continue to wrestle. Yeah.
He
No,
calls it the Lunchable mummy.
it's insidious. It's insidious, Jack the Snack.
Yeah, it better not be ham. That's extra salty. My God. Okay, so he's completely dried him out. All right, so
Yep, and just to be clear about the members of the Fashion Gobernobles that are out here, it is Roosh and the Beast Mortos.
yeah, not the other guy whose name we don't know.
Yeah, not that other fella who has yet to distinguish himself.
Dragon Face or some shit. Anyway, this match was pretty decent.
Drilistico, you actually reminded me with Dragon Face. Yeah, it's Drilistico.
Yeah,
There we go.
I told you. Yeah, that's the only thing that stands
nailed
out
it.
is that it's something dragon related. Any hoozle doozle. This was a pretty decent match. I think this one was maybe a little bit more about storytelling than anything else because there has been a rift between the Acclaimed that didn't really seem to rear its ugly head in this particular match. And maybe that's because the guy that we just talked about, maybe because he was there. For some
because
reason,
Daddy Ass?
yeah, for some reason my brain will not keep his name in my head right now.
Because it's Daddy Ass or Billy Gunn.
Billy Gunn. Yeah. Isn't it badass Billy Gunn?
It is the badass Billy Gunn.
I didn't call him daddy ass. I gotta stop that. Why? Why?
You don't want him to scissor you?
Anyway, so this was a pretty good match, but it was more, like I said, I think more about storytelling, and it was storytelling that we needed to have anyway. Because there seems to be a rift between the Acclaim between Max Caster and Anthony Bowden. Anthony Bowens.
Yeah.
Bowens.
There was only one spot that I saw that was kind of miscommunication, and I think it was when Max Caster tagged himself in off of Bowen's shoulder, and Bowens wasn't quite ready to be tagged out, but they just sort of rolled with it, so it didn't really amount to anything.
Yeah. That kind of resulted into a mini nothing burger, but honestly, still a good match. And I actually thought that LFI, because of the rift between the Acclaimed, I honestly thought that LFI would take the match. I was very surprised to see that they did not. The match did go to the Acclaimed. So again,
because everybody loves the Acclaimed.
Yes. but there was a bit, just like a little bit of storytelling, but I'm not sure what they were trying to tell. I'm not sure what the story angle was, to be honest, because it didn't amount to much of anything. They still won. Um, they won the match, so I don't know. Maybe this is something that's gonna show up in the actual match to determine who's gonna go against Private Party. Maybe that's when we'll see the big rift or whatever
Well,
that's good.
I was just going to agree with you. I do think that's where it might manifest. I don't think it will be the Acclaimed. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I suspect that if they're telegraphing that Max Caster is going to bail on the Acclaimed, and we suspect that that's actually going somewhere and isn't just a red herring, then if it were going to happen, it'll be after they don't win against, Private Party in this four-way.
Yeah,
I mean, that would be a much bigger like scenario for them to break apart than the qualifying match.
yeah, I agree.
And not for nothing, this was a solid match that happened between the Acclaimed and the
Yeah,
Gobernables.
it was. It was.
Just to talk about a few high spots, Roosh early on tries to do what Roosh always does, which is choke somebody with the camera cable. And in this scenario, though, Max Caster grabs it while he's out on the apron, and Roosh is on the floor, and he grabs it and he attempts to start choking Roosh with the cord. And I'm like, oh, finally somebody beat him to the punch. But it actually kind of backfired on Max Caster because Roosh like grabs hold of the cord and flings Caster, who just takes like a flip bump off of the apron straight to the floor.
Yeah.
And that was brutal looking. Yeah, I mean that was just a heck of a bump to take. Some other high spots. Obviously, the Beast Mortos does what the Beast Mortos does, and he hit Bowens with a wonderful pop-up Samoan drop. And then I think he tags out to Rush, who follows that up with an overhead belly to belly into the corner to Max Caster. So there was some real high spots. There was later on there was a snap power slam by Rush that sets up like a diving senton from the middle rope, but he misses that, so he just eats nothing but mat. Yeah. And that allows Caster to tag and hit a frog splash, but Mortos ends up saving on that one. But Roosh then hits a backstabber on Caster, and Mortos, like, he hangs on to it, so you've got, like, Max Caster bent backwards, and Mortos comes off the top with, like, a flying diving drop kick.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mortos misses a cannonball in the corner, which allows Caster to tag in Bowens, and then the Acclaimed hit the Arrival, and that's followed up by a mic drop by Caster to get them the win. And so the Acclaimed defeat the Fashion Gobnoblies and Jack the Snack Roberts and go on to participate in the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Championship match that is coming up at Full Gear.
Yeah. And I can say that I mean I'm a fan of Mortos. But I've always been kind of, I don't know about Roosh. It's not that Roosh is bad. Roosh is good, man. He's good. But he has grown on me in the past couple of months more for some reason than before. I'm not sure. Basically, ever since he's come back, he's basically grown on me. So I was kind of hoping that LFI would take this win because I would like to see more of Roosh and Mortos, but I don't dislike the Acclaimed, you know. but I mean the Acclaimed have been here
I do.
before, and I just kind of felt I was kind of hoping that some some new blood, some new-ish blood, would get thrown in the mix there with LFI, but another day perhaps.
Perhaps. And I'm not 100% sure if they've decided for certain that the Beast is going to stick around with the Fashion Gobnoblies.
Yeah,
But, and I do think that there's a story they're trying to tell with the Acclaimed, I think, that needs that to happen at Full Gear. So I understand why it went the way it did, but I agree with you. I think there's some real, like, potential here in Roosh and the Beast Mortos. As far as LFI goes, I'm not 100% sure how Dralistico fits in. Like Roosh stands out because you mess with the bull, you get the horns.
yeah,
And the guy's work rate is very, very good. Like he looks brutal when he's in the ring. He does brutal things that make you think, man, that was brutal. So
yeah,
he's very good in that regard. And the Beast Mortos is the fucking Beast Mortos. I mean, this guy should probably be being propelled to another level. I'm worried a little bit that neither of these two men being native English speakers puts an unfortunate limit on what they're able to get done. But for what they can do, not being native English speakers, I think they've done very well.
yeah. I am in agreement with this. Doesn't seem to be holding them back at all, and again, Jake the Snake, being their manager is surprisingly fitting. So
Well, it's good that you have so much personality there. I mean, like the Beast Mortos is his own thing. Jake Roberts is his own thing. I mean, he's a legend, right? And then you've got Roosh, who's just over the top, like I'm Mr. Intensity. And that's why I said Dralistico kind of gets lost in the shuffle because he's just there. Like that's it.
yep, that's true.
But I do think it was smart to put them with someone like Jake Roberts, who, even though he sometimes has to whisper a little louder to be heard,
Yeah,
he can cut the promos for them that they can't, because like I don't think Rush speaks a lot of English and Beast speaks Beast, so
yeah,
not too many people know that language either, except for maybe like Roderick Strong.
yeah, true.
Speaking of language barriers, we are brought to the back where Mina Shirakawa is being interviewed by Lexi Nair. And Lexi asks her a couple of questions, and Mina pretty much makes it clear that she's excited for her next match as an answer to both, and then proceeds to gyrate.
And then
And
after that,
and everyone is happy. Then
I
after
mean,
that, we are brought to the conglomeration with Mark Briscoe, Tomohiro Ishii, and Rocky Romero.
who
And they are
ruins
now
everything.
it's too much sugar. Azukar.
Yeah,
But they're
dear
back there with
Azukar,
Lexi Nair. Sorry, go
Gaete.
ahead.
I said, dear Azukar, Gaete. I don't like him. I don't like him.
No.
Rocky. I'm just gonna tell you, Rocky Romero is kind of meh, and Tomohiro Ishii is. I mean, he's okay. But there's not much to work with here with Lexi. And gosh, I mean, Briscoe is out there doing his damnedest because Lexi asks Tomohiro a question, and he just stands there and he looks stoic like you do. And Briscoe translates for Ishii, and his translation was just a bunch of screaming. But basically, it was. But apparently, Jericho needed to learn a lesson about getting his ass whooped. And and this is how Rocky ruined it. Rocky asked what the word of the day was, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe Mark wasn't ready for that, and it seems like he wasn't because he had a lot of words.
Like a
Um,
lot. Like the word of the day was like a bunch of words.
yeah, it was a menagerie of words, if you will. Um, and
Like
also,
tenacity and tendaciousness and
yeah,
all other kinds.
lots of tendons and shit, and yeah, he was all over, and I was like, thanks a lot, Rocky, putting him on the spot. You fuck. Um, so whatever the case, I blame Rocky. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah,
But
yeah, but
Mark goes on to go ahead.
yeah, Mark goes on to say that Ishii is bringing the ROH World Championship back to the conglomeration, and that's all I want to say.
And that's the translation. I agree with you. I generally am a big fan of the conglomeration. I
Hmm.
don't think Rocky Romero is adding anything to them.
No.
I'm much like if I had to pick another member kind of in that range that could have benefited from more screen time and being an actual better like aid and performer for the conglomeration, I would have gone with AR Fox.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody else, but maybe AR Fox is a little too hardcore. I don't know.
I
I mean,
I
because
get more
when last
hardcore
we
than
saw
Mark
him,
Briscoe.
yeah, what I mean is like more heelish, I guess, because the thing that I knew about him before now was that he helped Swerve go to Nick Cannon
Nick
go
Cannon's
to
house.
Nick Wayne's house and beat him up at his little wrestling ring slash dojo. So I meant like that kind of hardcore. Like they whipped the snot out of kids. So maybe he doesn't want to be that much of a face or in a group that kind of like lighthearted.
Or
Maybe
a
he
bunch of
wants to.
faces.
Yeah, maybe he wants to do something else. So maybe that's why he's not in that particular uh group. But I mean, I guess I don't I don't know why Ishii is in it, to be perfectly honest. But um, you know,
To no sell every chop.
every move, you mean? No sell every move.
Exactly.
Like just Powerhouse Hobbs gets in the ring with him, and nothing is being sold for the first
I
15
mean,
minutes.
he has no sell on another level. Like he no sold that promo just there.
Yeah, yeah, my man no sold a promo like he's a real one, a real one.
Yep.
What are you gonna do?
But
Yeah,
but that isn't where Lexi Nair is done. She's busy tonight. She
yeah,
is next shown in the back talking with FTR and asks where FTR's head is at. And I'm like, well, one, FTR is two people, each with their own head, and it's at the top of their neck, Lexi.
yeah.
I mean, ask the tough
What a
questions, the
weird
tough, hard hitting
question.
questions.
Yeah, what a weird question, you weirdo.
But Cash answers saying they're not sure where to go because they are not in this fatal four way coming up at Full Gear, so they're out of the title picture for the AEW tag team
Yeah,
titles. And he says we're not sure where to go because we've been losing a lot lately. He says maybe they need to reassess, rebuild. In the meantime, they're looking forward to the Outrunners hopefully succeeding since they are in the fatal four way. And they say, if the Outrunners win it, maybe FTR versus the Outrunners. Looking forward to it.
yeah.
And that's when they cut to a video package of the Outrunners.
Which is just what everybody wanted to see. No
It is
sarcasm there.
it
It's
is
exactly what
everything,
we wanted to
everyone.
see. It's
Yep.
everything I wanted to see.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, I saw this. I'm like, you guys could have led with this. You wanted me to watch your collision. You could have just fucking started out with FTR. I'm sorry, not FTR, with the Outrunners, and I'm like, oh, I'll sit down. Let's watch this. That's what you
Yep.
had to
Time to
do.
watch.
You wanted our attention. You could have just started off with the Outrunners. You would have had it for the rest of the night.
Yep. And it's a video package that's been redone in kind of like Betamax VHS style of a lot of the recent matches of the Outrunners and them kicking a lot of butt.
Yeah.
So it was good times. And it is from there that we lead into match 6, a no disqualification match for the AEW Women's World Championship between Mariah May versus Anna Jay. And I got to admit, being that this is, I think, their third match, and I haven't been impressed much by the first two, I wasn't super excited for this match, but I was wrong. And I will turn it over to you if there's some things you would like to say about this one.
Yeah, no shit. I was this is probably the match that I was least hopeful for. Because I mean, we had seen it. We'd seen it 2 times already. But they really did everything they could to make this match feel like a big deal. Um Mariah May came out in pants, y'all. That's how you know. That's how you know shit's about to get really real.
Yep, about to get hardcore when they're showing up in jeans or pants.
Yeah. Anna Jay was like, nah, I'm all natural, or she just came out in her regular outfit. She didn't come out naked, guys. Calm down. Um but I mean, she started out on the attack. Like she started out with a drop kick. And then I think it hit her. She hit May with the computer monitor. Like Jay was going all out from jump, which usually means that the person who's going all out from jump is gonna lose. Um, but we'll get to that in a second. Uh, Mariah looked really good. Every match that I've seen Mariah in so far, I'll say most of the matches that I've seen Mariah in so far since she's won the belt from Tony has been kind of lackluster. She just kind of feels like she's there, but she's not there.
Yeah.
And she kind of just feels like she's going through the motions. And she even talks as much when she cuts her promos. Uh, However, she was really fired up here in this match. Um,
Yeah, they were both locked in on this one. I
yeah.
didn't get any sense of apathy. I think they were
Mm-mm.
excited to go with this no DQ kind of hardcore style match.
Yeah, yeah. I did not see or sense that these ladies were like, "Oh man." I felt like they were like, "Yeah." Um.
Yeah, yeah, they
So,
were excited to show out.
yeah, and show out they did, honestly. Um. And of course, Josh is gonna give you the names of the moves and whatnot, and when they suck and when they were awesome. He's got that. He's got all that on lock. Um. But this year, this year was a really really good match. And I'll turn it over to Josh. He can give you the who won and who did what with what. But there were also a lot of really cool moves here too.
Yeah,
The only thing that I had a problem with is they kept showing Taya Valkyrie and Deonna Purrazzo for some reason watching backstage, watching the match,
yeah,
and I'm not really sure why. None of us care. So
yeah, I wasn't sure either. Now, the way that Taya Valkyrie and Deonna Purrazzo are being pitched is that they're kind of like, I want to say that they're like mercenaries. I forget what they're calling themselves. But they're like a mercenary team. And they've even said as much. Like, if you need somebody hired to be beaten up, we're about that life. And so I kind of thought maybe we're seeing Taya Valkyrie and Deonna Purrazzo because maybe Mariah May or perhaps even Anna Jay has hired them to come interfere in this no DQ match, right? It's no DQ, so you wouldn't get a disqualification.
yeah,
But none of that happened. Taya and Deanna just were watching the match, and so it was sort of like, hey, you know.
yeah,
So why are we watching them watch the match? Like, can we go back to the people in the ring?
yeah. No fucking clue. I don't get why we kept watching them. And I do know that whenever who won, they showed they showed the two ladies one last time, and they were very upset for some reason.
Yeah, which makes me think they were against Mariah May, but
Yeah.
again, it was a no DQ match. If you were that upset about it, you could have interfered.
Yeah, why
So
were
it
you just
was,
watching from back? 'Cause I mean, they made it look like they were there. They were standing, watching a monitor or watching a TV screen in the back. So I don't
yeah,
get it.
they could have come out at any time to sway the outcome. But yeah, so it was that was one part that was a little weird. But I'm not going to hold that against what Mariah May and Anna Jay did in that ring. Speaking of
No.
which, here is what they did in that ring. After, as Dawn mentioned, Jay hit Mariah May with a computer monitor. They get back in the ring, and Mariah May is hit by a blockbuster off the middle rope by Anna Jay, who then proceeds to look for a chair, but ends up getting hit over the head with a garbage can. This was that kind of a match. Like, everything came into play. They had so much hardware.
Yeah.
And there was a point where May heads under the ring and pulls out a huge ladder and slides it into the ring. And Jay tries to go for the Queen Slayer, but May's able to back her into the ladder, which gets her to let go. And May ends up finding a toolbox and starts whipping Anna Jay with a chain. Jay then snaps suplexed Mariah May on the folding chairs, so now everybody's dead. I'm surprised they didn't cut to the Murder Hawk going, told you.
Everybody dies.
And there was a point where Mariah May hits Mayday on a chair, and it only gets a 2 count. And at this point, I'm starting to feel like poor Mariah May's Mayday has been buried as a finishing move because it doesn't finish anybody now, not even when it's done on chairs. And it sort of looks like May is trying to go for a pile driver, but Jay's like, nah, brah, and ends up hitting her into the ladder in the corner. And then we end up with Jay going outside and grabbing a table. And I wasn't sure what she was trying to achieve with this table, but she took a long time to like finally set it up as a ramp. Like, I'm like, where are we going with it? Because it looked like she took it like a full 360 around the ring. And I'm like, where are you trying to get this table to go?
Are you walking it? What are we doing?
Right? You wait until it finds a spot to poop. But she finally sets it up as like a ramp, and I'm kind of digging like what they're doing with setting these things up like a ramp, but she totally didn't use it like I thought she would. Like, I was thinking she had watched that match between Harley Cameron and La Mera Mera. What's her name? Help me out.
You said it, and now because you've asked me, it left my brain. So this is your fault.
Well, at any rate, she had done a move where she ran up the ramp that they had created with the table and like did like a drop kick or something. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
But she sets it up like a ramp, but ends up using it to try and superplex Mariah May through it. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's going to be ugly because it's not an even surface. Like, Mariah May is going to get like broken in half over the corner that's up. And they clearly thought the same thing. So they were like, nah, we're not doing that spot. And May counters into a sunset flip power bomb off the top. And I remember we thought that was especially funny because of the prolonged amount of time that Mariah May spent with her face in Anna Jay's crotch.
I felt, we made several jokes, guys, about it. Thunder Rosa is the woman that you.
Thunder Rosa, thank you.
Took me freaking forever. But yeah, no, we thought some we cracked a lot of jokes. That's all I'll say. A lot of jokes about that particular situation.
And grown up, and we were beyond making the obvious jokes about Mariah May's face in Anna Jay's crotch for a prolonged period of time. That was beneath us, guys.
Yeah,
Trust us.
just trust us. Yeah, there it is. That's it.
You
Don't
know what
ask
was
questions.
beneath Mariah May's chin? No, sorry.
Anyway,
At any rate, yeah. Uh,
what
so
did he
after
say?
what did he say? After that particular move, Mariah May is like clearly not satisfied with mere table destruction. No, no. She goes outside and grabs a section of the freaking guardrail and slides that into the ring. And she goes about setting up the guardrail as kind of like a table laying between a few unfolded chairs. But Anna Jay meets her at the top rope, and Anna Jay then proceeds to superplex Mariah May onto this guardrail. And this was perhaps the most brutal looking move. The guardrail
Yeah,
was not here to cooperate. The guardrail was like, and so they just smash into this thing, and then the whole thing, like, what gave was the chairs, not the guardrail.
yeah,
And both women just looked like they were demolished. Um, Anna Jay eventually recovers, rolls outside, and this was another very cool thing because Anna Jay uses the Queen Slayer, which is a sleeper hold. And she takes the barbed wire and wraps it around her arm and then proceeds to put the Queen Slayer on May. And I'm like, this is how you slice someone's throat. This is
yeah.
we're fixing to
Brutal.
all be watching and witnessing a murder in the ring. And I thought for sure this would have it for Anna Jay. I'm like, how are you going to deal with a Queen Slayer being put on you while barbed wire is on Anna Jay's arm? Like that's like you're going to tap out just to avoid having your throat slashed. But May
Yeah,
was like, nah, I'm hardcore like that. So she didn't tap. What she does is she, I guess, reached into her little pants that she was wearing. I guess this is why she wore pants and grabs I want to guess hairspray or maybe spray paint. I'm not sure which, but
yeah,
reaches up and sprays it in Anna Jay's eyes, and Anna Jay is like, I'm blind, and that allows Mariah May to storm zero Anna Jay onto a chair for the 1, 2, 3. And I don't mind telling y'all, this was a hell of a good match.
yeah,
I mean, if you like the more hardcore, extreme rules kinds of matches, this was aces in my book. I mean, this is right up there with the last one we saw, which was I think Willow versus Chris Statlander, and they did a hell of a job with their extreme rules kind of match. And this showed me some stuff out of Mariah May and Anna Jay, blood notwithstanding, out of them that I hadn't seen before, and it
yeah,
made this third match in this series really, really good.
yeah,
So
yeah.
this
Absolutely.
was a heck of a match these two women put on.
Yeah, I could not agree more. And I mean, I've said my bit before. You said yours, so I'm not gonna recap. But honestly, this was probably the best match that they've had between the two of them. It was really good, and Anna brought it.
Yeah.
She looked good. She looked the best that I've ever seen her look in this match.
And I mean, not for nothing, not only was this the third match, and as I prefaced this with, like, we weren't going into it with high hopes. But not only was this a great match for the third match in their series and probably the conclusion, at least for now, of their feud, but this ended up being a really great match to be the main event of Collision, which
Yeah,
is what it was. And after the match, Mina Shirakawa comes out because she's been coming and coming for weeks
Jesus.
now just to see Mariah May. And so she makes her way out there and jumps into Mariah May's arms. I'm not sure what relationship we're supposed to assume these two women have, but it looks a little more than friendly. That said, Mariah May puts Mina Shirakawa down long enough to go over and kick Anna Jay in the ribs as she's trying to recover from having her head drilled into a chair. And Mina's like, no, now's not the time for violence, but for champagne. Actually, I don't know if she said that, but she does get Mariah May to back off, and then they both exit. and Anna Jay is kind of left in the ring, holding her ribs in her head, and whew, bad time for Anna Jay tonight.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
but
a
that's
good
how
match.
we ended the match. But that wasn't the end of Collision, because then we cut to a promo that looks like it's taking place in a parking garage. And it is John Moxley and Marina Shafir. And Moxley is just monologuing to the camera, and he says he underestimated Orange Cassidy going into this thing.
Jesus.
He didn't realize that Orange was cold blooded. He kind of hoped he'd bring the animal out of Orange Cassidy when he broke Chuck Taylor's neck, but Cassidy is a snake, cold blooded and reptilian. The test will be this Wednesday when he faces his former student, Wheeler Yuta. And I'm like, what is that going to be a test of? Like Wheeler
I
Yuta's
have
jaw
no
strength?
idea.
Because he's just going to eat orange punches from beginning to end of that match, I'm sure. But Moxley then goes on to say he wishes he was cold blooded, but he's not. He feels everything. And
Okay.
he feels the weight of all of the fans, the wrestlers, the weight of what AEW could be. And he tells Orange Cassidy, if you think you can take the crown, then do so and see if you like how it feels, the weight of the responsibility for AEW. And he more or less says, and this sounds again like more recruiting for the Death Riders, but like, you can say it. I need to see it. Like, but he says, those that want to, stay in AEW as Moxley sees it, had better be willing and able to go the distance every single day, to give 100%, to be ready to die on their shields every single day, or get out. And that was kind of how we ended up closing this episode of Collision.
Yep.
And to that end, what would you rate, or what is your review for AEW Collision?
I think I'd give Collision a solid 8. There were really no bad matches here. Um, there wasn't. I mean, even the promos were pretty decent. Um, this was a well put together episode, and although Moxley continues to Moxley and Marina really they continue to be kind of I don't know, wild cards here. Like you're either going to enjoy what happens when they're on screen or you're not going to enjoy what happens on screen. Um I guess the worst thing would be if you're indifferent to when they're on the screen, and I think I might be reaching indifference. Um it just kind of sounds like the same mumble jumble when he gets out there, when Moxley gets out there and talks. I mean, that might be a bit of a downside to the show, but he didn't ramble long. So there's that. But overall, I'd give the match, I think, a solid 8. It was good. It was entertaining from start to finish. 6 matches, and it didn't feel like 6 matches. So
Well, and there's an element I forgot. There's an element I forgot that occurred after John Moxley and Marina Shear's promo. It was an element where we went back to the announce desk, and Tony Schiavone announced that through, special thanks to Guns N' Roses, they've put together a video package,
oh yeah, yeah,
playing
yeah.
to November Rain. And the video package was absolutely outstanding, from start to finish. It sort of recaps and gives you an idea of what, who's against who and what's going on for upcoming Full Gear.
Yeah. That I
And
forgot about that. And yeah, that one was really
that
good
was
too.
actually the show close, not just Moxley's promo. So my bad, I forgot.
Yeah. 8.5. I forgot all about it. I'll put another .5 on that bad boy for the little music vignette that they showed, which was really just a recap. A great way to recap what's happened before Full Gear. Uh which is what they did, and yeah, it was good. It was fun.
Yeah, I think for my review, I am going to have to agree with you. For me, this one sits somewhere at like probably an 8. I think 8 neck nubs, which
Yeah.
is top tier. There was nothing that I disliked in this episode. While there might not have been too many things that were absolutely must see, I do have to give a lot of credit to some of the matches in this for being incredibly good. Like, I enjoyed seeing Powerhouse Hobbs again, even though the Iron Savages, whatever. The match between the Acclaimed and the Fashion Gobnoblies was really, really good. And the main event between Mariah May and Anna Jay, I might actually push into a must-see category because the women's matches that have, especially the ones of late that have done the Extreme Rules thing, have been really good matches. And really good women's matches, especially really good women's matches that are given time to breathe, and really good women's matches that are also the main event of a show, are far
Hmm.
and few between.
Yeah.
So I give a lot of credit to that, and I mean everything was pretty fun. I enjoyed Danny Garcia and Johnny TV with the MXM collection out there. There was a lot going on that was funny and
Yeah.
entertaining in that match, and it led to an outside of the ring spot where we got to see Danny Garcia and Matt Menard, basically strap Jack Perry to the front end of his scapegoat mobile and take out driving. That was hilarious. So yeah, this is going to get
Yeah.
a top tier from me. It was a really solid, good episode of AEW Collision.
Yeah. Agreed.
So that concludes our coverage of AEW Collision from November 16th, and I would like to thank everybody who has joined us for this episode, and I certainly hope you're joining us for the next episode, which should be our coverage of Monday Night Raw. And until then, I don't think there's much left for me to do but roll the outro.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Top Tier Wrestling. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the latest AEW and WWE news and shows. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. Follow us on social media for updates and to join the conversation. Until next time, everyone, remember, wrestling is always better when it's top tier.